Hi everybody, my name's John. I'm a member of Brady Goats and I'm going to give you a rundown on where to put the power switch and battery for your robot. I'm also a member of the mechanical team. So let's get right into it. So the battery of the robot is very important because it powers the robot and is heavy. The battery placement is often given little thought in the design process, even though it is very important. The battery should be located low and in the center of the robot. It should also be easily accessible as it needs to be removed and charged between rounds. It must be protected from any sharp objects as this could cause a catastrophic failure. It's also one of the points in the inspection process. So an important distinction to make between the three types of batteries are the brands. So the three brands are Modern Robotics, the Tetrix, and Rev. All of these batteries share a similar weight, which is 600 grams. The three batteries fall into two shapes. The Modern Robotics and Tetrix battery are both tall, whereas the Rev battery is more flat and wide. The dimensions of the battery you choose will determine how it's mounted and where you will put it. It also will determine what mount you choose for it. It's also important to note that one of the three approved batteries is allowed on the robot. You can't have more than one of the batteries, and you can't have any other brand other than the approved brands. So the important factors to consider when buying or building a mount are ease of access, the security of the battery, and the location of the battery. The ease of access is important as you want to be able to take the battery out easily, as sometimes your rounds may be close together. The security of the battery is important, as when your robot stops suddenly, the battery will want to shake free of its location. The location of the battery is also very important, as you want the battery low to the ground in the center. An exception to the battery being in the center would be if it has to offset some large mechanism on your robot. So the first image I show is an example of what not to do. As you can see, it's zip tied on. There's not really much restraints, and it's on like one of the bumpers, which exposes it to robot contact, and which can cause failure, and it can cause your robot to fail inspection. So you want to keep it away from any robot contact, and you want it to be secured. So a good example of that is the second image below it. So that image shows a battery that is secured to the robot with a strap, making it easily removed. It's protected from any collisions with other robots, and overall, it's a pretty good spot to put the battery, as it is easily removed. The Modern Robotics and Tetrix battery will use a taller, more rectangular mount that holds the battery. A mount can be purchased for either battery or can be custom made with a 3D printer. An example of a purchased battery mount is the picture in the upper right, and a custom mount is a picture of a custom mount is located in the bottom right. And I'll leave links in the description where you can purchase mounts for this type of battery. So the Rev battery will use a shallow cube-shaped mount that holds the battery. An example of a Rev battery mount that can be seen in the first picture. That mount can be purchased from the Rev store. And an example of a custom battery mount is the bottom right picture. So I'll leave links to the purchased battery mount where you can buy that one. But I found in my own personal experience that to make your own mount for the Rev battery is much more effective. I guess it's easier to use. I've just found it to be easier, especially for the Rev batteries. So I'm going to switch on over to the power switch from the battery. So the power switch is a physical switch that allows you to turn off your robot immediately. It is an important part of your robot, and much like the battery, it has to be placed in the correct area to be useful, and so that you can pass inspection. So the power switch is often not thought about until the end of the robot construction, much like the battery, kind of two items that you really don't think about because you aren't really using them as you build the robot. Um, the placement of the power switch can be the difference between your team passing and failing inspection, so it's an important one to consider in your robot design. The most important rule of power switch placement is to make it accessible. There are a couple of other rules you must follow as well in order to make your power switch effective. The power switch should not be mounted on the outside of the chassis or be flush with the frame perimeter, as this could allow your robot to be accidentally turned off during the match by another robot. So the power switch should also be angled upward so it cannot be easily shut off when your robot is moving. And to protect the power switch from other robots who may accidentally shut it off, you may want to place the switch behind a cover plate or a shield with a small opening, so that way you can get it with your fingers, but a robot can't really turn your robot off accidentally. You also must ensure that game pieces cannot fall on your power switch and disable your robot. So much like the battery, there's three different types of power switches, three different types of approved power switches from the same three manufacturers. So the manufacturers are Tetrix, Matrix, and Rev. And I left links where you can purchase each one of these power switches in the description. All the switches come with mounting hardware with the exception of Tetrix, where you have to make your own mount, or you can purchase one separately from Tetrix. So a labeled power switch is required and you cannot pass inspection without it. To denote where your power switch is mounted, you can either attach a printed out sign from the game manual or a 3D printed sign around your power switch. This is required. You have to have your power switch labeled. So I left a link in the description to the file to 3D print power switch, and I also left a link to the paper power switch in the description. So that concludes my presentation, and I just want to thank you all for listening. And if you follow these instructions, your power switch should be easily usable and protected from the other robots, and you should pass inspection. I hope you all enjoyed learning about the battery placement and power switch. If you want to find more about our team, you can visit our social media and the links in the description. Thank you.